Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, here we are at midnight. Actually, 12:01 this morning to be accurate. So about maybe 6 hours ago, the federal government now has, for the most part, shut down. And this is a shutdown that could have been easily averted. This did not have to take place. This is a shutdown that the Democrats have wanted, the Democrats demanded, and the Democrats voted for. They want this shut down. And this is now the price that the country is paying because of the radical left, which has now taken over the Democratic Party. Their base wants opposition, the resistance to Donald Trump. And they want to smack him in the face. They want to try to burn his administration to the ground. They want to oppose him for the sake of opposing him. They don't want to give him anything when it comes to funding the government. And so they pushed Schumer. They pushed Hakeem Jeffries. They pushed Nancy Pelosi. They pushed the grand poobahs of the Democratic Party, who privately admit there is no exit ramp out of this, who privately know they are probably making a massive political mistake. But it doesn't matter, because Schumer and Jeffries, in theory, may be the titular heads of their party. Yes, in theory, they may be the minority leader in the House and the minority leader in the Senate. But this is not their party anymore. Everybody knows it. This is now AOC's party, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is now Zoran Mamdani's party. This is now Bernie Sanders' party. This is now Ilhan Omar's party. And they want scorched earth against Trump. They want a shutdown. And they believe that heading into the midterm elections, this is now their fundamental strategic calculation. To me, it is a miscalculation. But for them, this is now their fundamental assumption. They believe that on health care, that they have the winning hand. That on the health care issue, that this is the issue that they believe they have an advantage over Republicans, an advantage over Trump, and that it pops and resonates with voters. And so this is why they have pulled the healthcare issue out and made it now the centerpiece of their pretext, their supposed justification to shut the government down. And at the heart of their healthcare spending package is they want to increase healthcare spending by $1.5 trillion. They want to extend massive subsidies for Obamacare. They want to give illegal aliens free, i.e. taxpayer-paid, health care, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And, as I talked about yesterday, they want to provide free gender reassignment surgery, sex change operations, transgender surgeries to minors and children who may think they're a girl and want to become a boy, or they're a male and they want to transition to a female. They want all of this paid for by you, me, and the taxpayer. This shutdown, as far as I'm concerned, is already a massive defeat for the Democrats. And yesterday, at the steps of the House of Representatives, Mad Maxine Waters effectively gave the whole ball game away. In an interview with media outlets, she said the quiet part out loud, that this shutdown was fundamentally at its core about giving illegal aliens free health care, to put them on Medicaid, to give them free welfare benefits, to take care of every single illegal alien on our dime, the taxpayer's dime. As I said on X, and I want to repeat it, they're not even hiding anymore. Their contempt for America and for us, the U.S. taxpayer. And so, President Trump now believes he's holding all the cards, that the Democrats are going to be blamed for this shutdown, that they're going to own this shutdown, which I believe they do. And Trump now says we're going on offense. And so, as the Democrats voted down the last chance to keep the government open, it was what's called a clean continuing resolution, a CR, which would fund the government. Remember, at Biden spending levels. We're not talking about any cuts whatsoever. These are spending levels that Biden wanted, the Democrats supported, the Democrats voted for 4 years ago, and we've been operating off of this now for 4 years. It would have extended the government for another 7 weeks. And during those 7 weeks, Republicans and Democrats could then negotiate in a bipartisan fashion all of these appropriations bills, including whether there should be more spending on Obamacare subsidies or other health care related issues. But as J.D. Vance powerfully said it, John Thune repeated it yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson, President Trump, we're not going to negotiate with a bunch of hostage takers who are holding the metaphorical gun to our head. Pass a $1.5 trillion monstrosity within 3 hours, or we shut the government down. That's not how you run a country. That's not how you run a budget. That's not how you pass a massive spending package. And so they have called Schumer's bluff. The New York Times. Now remember, this is just on the eve of the shutdown. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. When people start not getting paid, these government bureaucrats, when they start missing paychecks, and when basic services are no longer being provided, and when you see this shutdown begin to really bite and really take effect, these numbers already bad for Democrats are going to get infinitely worse. The New York Times, the most pro-Democrat paper in the country, with the exception maybe of the Boston Globe, came out with their poll showing that 65% of Americans, A, do not want a shutdown, B, blame the Democrats for this shutdown. 60%, or 59 to be more accurate, nearly 60% of independents don't want a shutdown, and they blame Democrats. Even 43% of Democrats, over 40% of Democrats do not want a government shutdown, and they blame Schumer and Jeffries and the Democrats for this government shutdown. I want you to listen now to President Trump. He was asked yesterday, are you worried about a shutdown? Are you trying to avoid a shutdown? What do you think the consequences of this shutdown will be? Listen now to President Trump saying, we are not going to bend. I'm not giving free health care to illegal aliens. No way. This is our red line, and we're not going to let anyone cross it. But then he warned the Democrats, remember, when you shut the government down, we're not just talking now about temporary furloughs, as there used to be in the past, where people, government workers, bureaucrats get laid off, and it's basically a prolonged vacation. They're out for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, then they're all brought back to their jobs, and they're all given back pay. So all those 3, 4, 5 weeks, yes, they weren't paid, but then they're paid when they come back because they get a couple of big fat checks in their bank account to make up for the fact that they weren't paid for the previous month. He said, no. I have instructed my budget director, Russ Vogt, he has given orders to every federal agency. Draw up a list of so-called unnecessary personnel. People that you can do without. And we're going to fire them. We're not just going to temporarily lay them off. We're going to permanently lay them off. Because now we're going to extend DOGE. We're going to use this opening, because we can legally do it, to extend DOGE and get rid of all these bureaucratic parasites. All of this waste, fraud, and abuse. Many of whom are Democrat operatives within the federal bureaucracy that do everything in their power to always try to paralyze or subvert or undermine a Republican administration. Now we're going to take this opportunity and we're going to fire them all. 617-266-6868 is the number. Am I the only one? I really would like to take the temperature of Kuhner country and get a sense of what many of you are thinking. I don't mind this shutdown. I mean, I think it's disgusting. Please don't get me wrong. I can't stand the fact that, you're going to have people aren't going to get paid. Just that, some basic services now are not going to be rendered, at least for a while. So, yeah, I think it's horrible. I don't think it's a good look for our country. But part of me is like, okay, if the Democrats want to commit political suicide, if you're that determined, it's like, don't jump. Well, if you really want to insist on jumping off the ledge, okay, I don't want to stand in your way, jump. Like, that's part of this. I look at this and I'm like, okay, you asked for it. You wanted it, you got it. Listen now to President Trump talking to reporters and saying, look, number one, we're not going to give free health care to illegal aliens. They're on drugs. So, and you're going to shut the government down over that issue? And you think you're going to win? And number two, we're now going to go on offense. A lot of bureaucrats are going to be permanently laid off. We are going to fire them in agency after agency. These are these unnecessary parasites, as I call them. These are these unnecessary deep state Democrat bureaucrats and operatives. You want to talk about rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse? That's exactly what we're going to do in agency after agency, program after program. In fact, as I speak to you now, listen to this. That's why part of this, I'm like, keep it going. Really, part of it is like, yeah, this is good. Really, this is good. The Democrats already are underwater in the polls. That's number one. So politically, they're already paying a price. But apparently now, 100,000 federal bureaucrats, 100,000, now plan to resign today en masse in protest of Trump, in protest of him not wanting to support this massive health care package, this $1.5 trillion in extra spending that the Democrats are pushing, and angry that Trump now wants even more permanent layoffs if there is a government shutdown. So already 100,000 are saying, we're going to leave. That's 100,000. Now, I'm telling you, you can hold me to this. The 100,000 that tender their resignations today, nobody will feel it at all. That is, to me, what the most incredible part of all of this. It's like what DOGE exposed. They're laying people off, firing people left, right, and center, and like, we don't feel it at all. You want to talk about absolute dead weight. You want to talk about eating up our money and wasting our money. And just very quickly, before I play the Trump cut, look, I remember I had a friend in Washington, D.C. I mean, he was open about it. He was one of these federal, basically permanent civil servants. He had a six-figure salary. By the way, gold-plated health care plan. And this guy bragged. Every time I met him, he bragged. He was, look, I'm telling you, I don't do anything all day. I'm like, well, you got to do something. He's like, really? I watch movies. I read novels. I go on sports websites. He goes, I don't do anything. I'm paid to do nothing. And he says, a lot of my colleagues are the same. And what was it? I think it was a GS11. I think that's the term. In other words, they rank you in terms of your seniority in the federal government. He retired with an $80,000 a year, an $80K pension a year. And I remember thinking, how are we going to afford this as a country? Like, it's theft. This guy does nothing. And we're not just paying for his salary and his benefits, but then we're paying for this outrageous pension for the rest of his life. We're going to go bankrupt, man. That's where my money is going. That's where our money is going. So that's why I was always a huge supporter of Doge. And I'm a big supporter of Trump when he says, oh, no, we're going to lace these people. They're not coming back like in the past. No, this is not going to be a long vacation. No, this time, many of them are never coming back. Listen now to Trump telling Democrats, you want a shutdown? We're going to give you one. Roll cut 1, Mike.
State of the Democrat Party when they have a 33% favorability rating on average in recent months, and they're willing to shut down the government over health care.
They are shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because we have the greatest period of time ever. I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested, so the last person that wants it shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them. Like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
And amen, brother. That's why part of me is like, no, keep it going. No, the longer this goes on, the more people they can let go. The more waste, fraud, and abuse they can root out. You can fire more of these deadbeats and parasites. Listen to Trump saying they think I'm going to give free health care to illegals? Right. They're on drugs up there in the Democratic Party. Roll cut 1A, Mike.
They're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that.
Good. I'm happy. I mean, I'm sorry. It's, the country should never have a shutdown. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, listen now to President Trump saying if the Democrats want to shut the government down, hey, the American people will blame them. And when the American people find out the real reason they're shutting the government down, he goes, I'm telling you, their wrath and fury is going to be felt for years to come. Trump is convinced that this is going to cost the Democrats the midterms and further crater their poll numbers with a public that already sees them as too radical, too extreme, too anti-American. Listen now to President Trump. Roll cut 1B, Mike.
But they want to have illegal aliens come into our country and get massive health care at the cost to everybody else, and we don't have it. And that's I would say, the number one reason that they want to strike is to get illegal immigrants health care. And, Gavin Newsom wants that, too, in California, and it's destroying California. We can't have that. We're not going to let it happen.
So Trump has told Republicans, absolutely not. This is a red line. No way are we crossing it. Absolutely not. We're not caving on this. They're not going to get their $1.5 trillion. They're not going to get their hundreds of billions of dollars for free, quote unquote, free health care for illegals that we're all going to be paying for or transgender surgeries. No way. This shutdown can go on for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 20 weeks. Trump has now told Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson, get ready. If the Democrats want to have this strike go on for months and months, this government shutdown, go ahead. We are not going to cave, not this time. And so tell me if you agree or disagree. It seems to me that Trump has now maneuvered Schumer into the corner. And now Schumer has nowhere to go. This is like an albatross around his neck. If he continues with this strike, week after week after week, this shutdown, their poll numbers are just going to get lower and lower and lower. If he backs out of this strike, of the shutdown, then he sees as having lost face and having capitulated to Trump, which opens him up now to even a further primary challenge from AOC. The way, I don't care how you look at it, it's tails Republicans win, heads Democrats lose. Agree, disagree. You've got Democrats now whose poll numbers are already bad. You've got American people now at the New York Times poll, at least if you go by that, says they don't want this shutdown and they're blaming Democrats. You've got now more Doge cuts are going to be implemented in the wake of this shutdown, giving Trump that opening he was looking for. And you've got the Republicans now really exposing how much the Democratic Party supports illegal aliens and how much they despise taxpayers and the United States. So, for me, politically, it's a loser for Democrats. Politically, it's a big win for Trump. And you want to talk about scaling back the swamp and cutting back that massive federal leviathan? This is it. The Democrats have given us a once-in-a-generation opportunity. Let's take it. Honestly, I'm almost rooting now for this thing to go on for months and months and months. The longer it goes on, the more people we can fire, and we can really finally shrink the federal bureaucracy and finally get rid of all of this waste, fraud, and abuse. So, to me, it's win-win. Am I missing something? 617-266-6868. Lines are jammed. Larry in Arkansas. You're going to kick us off, Larry. And thanks for holding. And as usual, welcome.
Morning, Jeff. This is going to be a fun couple days. The Democrats have overplayed their hands. They're getting too emotional. They get emotional. Look at how Hakeem Jeffries is having a meltdown because Trump posted an AI-generated picture of him in a sombrero and a Mexican mustache. Then they get both him and Schumer lose their minds when they go into this meeting with Trump and their Trump 2028 hats on the desk. You know, we always refer to 3D chess for Trump, and he is beating them in the mental gymnastics. They just can't take it.
Well, Larry, let me ask you this. You even have when you have the New York Times, and it's not just their poll, it's even many of their journalists, their editorial writers, their commentators are like, guys, what are you guys crazy? Like this, you're going to get slaughtered. Like, you know, from Larry, because you're a military man. This is not good ground. This is the worst ground possible that you could pick this fight. Like, do you want to lose? When you have even the New York Times questioning the political sanity of the Democrats for wanting this shutdown now on this issue, I've got to ask you, Larry, why? I mean, look, I don't like Schumer. I don't like Hakeem Jeffries. I don't like Pelosi. But Schumer's not a stupid man. You know, Pelosi, I mean, look, the woman stole, $400 million, you know, through insider trading and all this. She's not a stupid woman. She's an evil woman, but she's not a stupid woman. So they can read polls. They know what many of their own people are telling them. Why? Why would they make this such a massive miscalculation? What say you, Larry?
You're confusing stupid with desperate. Schumer is desperate.
Interesting.
AOC is gunning for his seat. And she's going to win it. Sadly, scary, but she's going to take it from him. So he has to go even further left than her to show the extreme left that he can be just as big a wackadoo as her, as Presley, as Omar. He's in a corner. When we say, they were saying this is like his final play, his Hail Mary. This is his final play, Hail Mary, on his career. Because he doesn't know how to do anything else but be a politician. And he's scared to death he's going to lose his seat.
Larry, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you saying that this man, Schumer, is so selfish, so narcissistic, so self-absorbed, so almost borderline sociopathic, that he would cause a shutdown and the pain that this would inflict on the country, including knowing that many bureaucrats, many civil servants, many government workers, forget being temporarily laid off, furloughed. Forget that. Many of them are going to be fired. They're going to be permanently cut. They're going to be permanently let go. So we're talking about, now I think it's a good thing because you're getting rid of the fat. But what I'm saying is, still, these are people's jobs. They're their careers. They have families. These have been loyal Democrats for decades. These are what they call the Democrat apparatchiks. And he's willing to inflict all of this pain on his own party, on his own supporters, on the country, just to try to salvage his political career. Is he that selfish a man? I'm just curious, Larry.
Look at the history over just the last 5 years. To maintain power and status, he pushed the COVID lies. He pushed the Russian hoax. He pushed open borders because he knows his voters are now in a super minority and they need to import more and more Democrat voters. Look, they've been telling us for years, you're crazy. No illegals are registered. And they just had a guy who was just arrested, an illegal alien. Turns out he was arrested in Iowa, but he's been a registered voter Democrat in, I think, Jersey or Maryland.
Maryland, yeah, for 10 years. For 10 years, Larry. For 10 years. He's been voting for 10 years. Okay, just very quickly, I want to go back to the phone lines. But just judging from the text line, 70470, from the emails that are just pouring into the Kuhner man, and from many of the messages I'm getting on Messenger, I don't want to say all of you. I can never speak for all of you, obviously, but a very good number of you. I'm almost willing to say a good majority, but definitely a lot of you. You like this shutdown. You're a lot like the Kuhner man. You don't want people to be hurt, obviously, and lose their jobs. And although, we do want some people to lose their jobs, but you know what I mean. We don't want services shut down and programs to be temporarily withheld from people who need them. But many of you think this has been a long time coming. So this is from Dave, our Western PA constitutionalist correspondent out in the Pittsburgh area. And here is what he messaged me. Jeff, cut the federal government, Jeff. Jeff, I love it. I love the shutdown. And with the Dems taking the blame, it's even better. So you like the fact that there's going to be a lot of bureaucrats who are going to lose their jobs over this. Taxpayers are going to save a ton of money. And a lot of corruption and a lot of fraud is going to be taken out of the federal government as Trump, fires people permanently. And the Democrats have made a huge political mistake. So a lot of you are like, Jeff, this is a win-win situation for us. Just keep it going now. Let me just go one more and then go back to the phone lines. This is from Mark. And as usual, his stuff is very, very good. Jeff, good morning. Well, good morning to you, buddy. Boy, did this backfire on the Dummycrats. Did they really think the majority of the American people were going to fall for their bullcrap yet again? Not this time. We're not stupid. Your bluff got called. And also Maxine Waters pretty much threw all these Democrats under the bus because once again, she was stupid enough to flap her gums and say the quiet part out loud. You just couldn't help yourselves. Well, now you made your bed, now you sleep in it.
Are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to save lives. We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No,
you're divisive. No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
For all people, huh? Oh, we know who you really want to save it for. But, I mean, that's how dumb she is. Like, yeah, illegals, everybody. We're not saying we're going to put illegals above Americans. We're just saying they all should get health care. Don't be divisive. You, the most divisive person in the United States. Are you kidding me? Get in their faces. Go to the restaurants. Go to the gas stations. Go wherever they are. You scream at them. You yell at them. You block them. You obstruct them. You remember that? And now, don't be divisive. Hey, come on now. She said the quiet part out loud because she's so stupid she can't control herself. And Trump now is going to run wild. He already is. He's going on about I'm not giving free health care to illegals. What are you, nuts? So, okay. And I'm telling you, you already have 43% of Democrats, 43% saying this shutdown's a disaster, and they're blaming their own party. Never mind 2/3 of Americans. And it's barely been 6 hours since they shut the government down. If I'm the Republicans, just keep pounding this message over and over again. We didn't want this shutdown. They wanted this shutdown. They asked for it. Okay. They wanted it. I don't know what else to tell you. No, I'm sorry. We're not going to give health care to illegals. We're just not free. No. Sorry, no. No, not free transgender surgeries. No, we're just not going to do it. So, I'm sorry. No. That's it. Just keep saying that over and over and over and over and over again. And you got them. You got them. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding, Russ, and welcome.
Jeff, good morning. Look, let's face the reality of this. The Democratic Communist Party wants to bankrupt this country, without question. Thank God the majority of the American people can see through this for what it is. It's a scam. That's all it is a scam. Chuck Schumer is a coward. He's getting in bed with Jew haters. Isn't that unbelievable? He's a Jew and he's getting in bed with Jew haters. Unbelievable, Jeff, believe me. The bad news is the majority of mass voters will remain useful idiots for the enemy within. And there's no doubt about that. I don't have the pulse for the other 49 states, but I surely have the pulse here in Massachusetts. I listen to these idiots day in and day out. And believe me, Jeff, they don't see the light here in Massachusetts. And we Trump supporters believe in God, family, and country. The leaders of the Democratic Communist Party, to them, God is dead. Attack the family. No love of country whatsoever. But, Jeff, thanks to President Trump and his great cabinet, we are getting our country back. Long live freedom of man in this great country.
Well, you know, I think, Russ, to add to what you're saying, because all I can do is add, I think I don't want to compare it to the Charlie Kirk assassination, obviously. A poor man was killed, murdered in cold blood. But, you know, you sense the change. You just said there's something changing in the country. We felt like we're at a watershed moment. This feels the same in terms of a change in the country. This shutdown. The media can sense it as well. The Democrats used to always have the upper hand. Not anymore. The Democrats' lies and their spin machine used to work. Not anymore. You can just tell that for something has snapped in the American psyche regarding the Democrats. The American people, we don't buy their BS. I can't say it. We don't buy their bull crap anymore. We just don't. And I think they picked, contrary to what they think healthcare is a winner for them. They picked the worst issue to shut the government down over. I would almost say any issue but this issue. When you're telling me that you want to fight for hundreds of billions of dollars to give free health care to Americans, to illegal aliens, while American citizens can barely pay their bills, can barely take care of their own health care, are struggling to get by, then you're a political party that honestly has lost all touch with reality. What we're watching now, you may think I'm wrong, but we're watching now the death of one of the great political parties in the United States. And I mean great, not in a, I don't mean like, virtuous or good. What I mean by great is they've been around since almost the beginning. In other words, a long-standing historic party that, a lot of presidents have been elected as Democrats. So this is a very consequential party with very deep roots in America. And the socialists, the communists, the Marxists, the far left, whatever you want to call them, the progressives, whatever, have taken over this party. And like everything else they touch, they destroy. And they're now driving it into the ground. By the way, the Democratic Party now, in the age of modern polling, I can just go by modern polling, has never been more unpopular. I mean, they're committing political hiri-kiri, like right in front of our eyes. And that's why I'm telling you, Trump can't believe his luck. And then that's why he looks at Russ Vought, the budget director. Russ Vought looks at him, and he's like, okay, that's Russ. We only got so far with Doge. They're giving us another chance. Let's go. Let's finish it. Let's fire them all. Let's really clean out the swamp this time. And the Democrats will be blamed for everything. So, good. I don't know what else to tell them. Good. Russ, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. Look, this is what I mean. Okay, let me just, the lines are jammed. I promise I'm going to go back to the phones. This is Schumer now. Chuck you Schumer, okay? On the Senate floor, just before the final vote, where they blocked the continuing resolution, the Democrats did. So again, they voted not to fund the government. So they are responsible for the shutdown. There's no question now. He then cites this New York Times poll. Because now, his own people are like, have you seen this? Chuck, this is our Bible. The New York Times is our Bible. Look what they're saying. 65% of Americans already are against the shutdown and they're blaming us. And even over 40% of our own voters are against us. So Schumer now has to address it. He's so obviously lying that they begin to laugh at him. In the Senate, They're laughing at him. Roll cut 3, Mike.
Now, I know the leader is going to show a poll that says that Democrats will be blamed for the shutdown. There are many more polls that show Republicans are blamed. The question in that poll is biased. Biased. In the New York Times, but it's biased. If you turn the... That's true. I don't always believe the New York Times. You can be sure of that. Neither do you. Okay.
Okay, all right, Chuck. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, the New York Times. Oh, yeah, they're really biased against the Democrats. Oh, yeah, Chuck. It's a biased poll. That's like under the Soviet Union, Pravda comes out with a poll, or Izvestia, the party is no longer popular. No, the people is not buying your bull crap no more. You got a problem, Vladimir. Or Dmitry, you have big problem now. Leonid, we have problem. Big problem. No, Pravda is biased against the Communist Party. Izvestia, you know them, they're always doing hit piss on communists. They're laughing at his face. 617-266-6868. Deborah in Whitman. Thanks for holding, Deborah, and welcome.
So good to talk to you. I'm a first-time caller, but my husband and I have listened to you 7 days a week since you came to Boston Radio.
Wow. Well, welcome, Deborah. You're among friends. Welcome.
Everything you're doing for us all. I just wanted to tell you, when you were talking earlier about, the probable, likely non-impact on everything that this shutdown will have. I took a government job a few years back. I lasted 11 months. I had come from the private sector where we never had enough of anything. And for any one person, you wore 20 different hats, and you just got the job done. I went to the government job, and we now had 20 people to do one job. And I'm totally serious. I had nothing to do all day long. I kept going, to my bosses and saying, I need something to do. What should I do next? I need something to do. And they just kept saying to me, oh, you have enough to do. Oh, you got plenty on your plate. It was astounding. I was going crazy. All my brother-in-laws were saying to me, what's wrong with you? Laugh all the way to the bank. It's a dream. And I said, no, I just can't do it. And just the last thing I wanted to say was, again, having come from a world where we never had enough of anything, we made do. We would have one piece of equipment and share it throughout the whole building and move it around floor to floor. They took me to a warehouse. It was this vast, expanse that I couldn't even see the end of, and it was filled with expensive equipment, machinery, thousands of pieces. It was like Candyland. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I said, why is this stuff all here? Why do we have all this and not use it? They said to me, well, unfortunately, it's all obsolete. We can't use it now. You can't buy parts for it. It's obsolete. There are upgrades to these types of equipment and so on. It's just obsolete and not used and just wasteful. These are the kind of people we have running the government.
Unbelievable. Deborah, I've got to ask you, and if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. Because I had a friend who lived in D.C. and told me exactly what you just told me. And after a while, he said the same thing. He goes, initially, I kept one of my bosses, my superiors. I got nothing to do. Like, could you give me something to do? Like, I just don't want to twiddle my thumbs all day. And he did say, I felt bad. I'm getting a paycheck, and I know the taxpayers are paying for my paycheck. And I'm not doing anything. He even said, he goes, I feel like I'm kind of stealing from them. And the superiors were telling him, you got a lot to do. In other words, like, wink, wink, just do nothing. Just, come on, man, just sit in your office and whatever, do what you got to do. And he just, after a while, said, okay. And, he began to go on ESPN, sports websites. He started to watch movies. He began to read novels. He said, basically, they paid me to have a good time. And I'm just curious, Deborah, why didn't you say, you know what? I'm going to catch up on my reading. You know what? I'm going to catch up on my knitting. You know what? I don't know, the latest Netflix series. You know what? They say it's very good. What the hell? Let me sit in my office, close that door, and just get some popcorn and enjoy the whole afternoon watching Netflix. Your favorite drama or whatever. Why didn't you do that, Deborah? I'm just curious.
Sounds good, but I was programmed to work hard. I was passionate about my work. I wanted to make a difference, and I just couldn't sit there. And I had a lot to offer. I had come from a place where we all worked hard together, and this was just new and totally unpalatable to me. The other thing I want to quickly mention, I don't want to take too much of your time, but they paid you for ideas. When you came up with an idea or a new program or a new initiative, you got a bonus, a substantial amount of money. So people, would get these little bonuses for just coming up with ideas. And it was incredulous to me. I said, this is part of work. I mean, this is what you do and what you bring to it. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I lasted 11 months, and thank God I got a call about another job, and it turned out to be phenomenal for me, and I was so happy. But I just couldn't sit there and do nothing. As I say, my brother-in-laws said, "What is wrong with you?" All of my brother-in-laws. I mean, this is like a dream. Why don't you just sit back, read a book, enjoy it? I couldn't do it.
Deborah, again, if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. Let's say you didn't leave. I know you did, but just for the sake of argument, you didn't leave. So let's say it's Deborah, the book reader. And Deborah's read, every novel ever written. And you've there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. What would your pension have looked like? Do you have any sense of that? Had you stayed at your job?
Oh, it would have been huge. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they told me after 30 years, you get 80%, tax-free of your last 3 highest years. So after 20 years, it's kind of prorated, but it's substantial, absolutely substantial.
Could you just put a dollar amount on that? Yeah, ballpark. When you say substantial, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000?
Well, I mean, at that time, probably, I would say 120,000.
120,000?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
pension.
I was paid. I'm not, Jeff, just one more thing. When I got there, we agreed on a salary, and I went because it was a little bit higher than what I had been currently making. I was looking for a new job. To make a long story short, everybody, when you get into the system, you agree on a salary, but then a review board looks at it, and they look at the number that was assigned for pay, and this group decides, is it exactly right for your situation, the role, your experience, so on and so forth? Is it too low or too high? So after, I think it's about 6 weeks, 2 months, whatever, very short amount of time after you're hired, they'll review that salary and make a decision on whether or not to keep you at that rate, bump it up, or bump it down. So I held my breath. I didn't know what they would do, but lo and behold, they come back to me with the letter, and they raised me up by $7,000 a year. $7,000. I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. But
it's too good to be true. Deborah, outstanding call. Deborah, you got to call again for your first time. It was incredible. Deborah, thank you very much. Well, that's where your money's going. $120,000 a year pension that she hung on. They're giving her bonuses for doing nothing. And Trump is saying, no. We're going to get rid of a lot of people like this now. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of employees like this. We're going to clean out that federal swamp. Amen, brother. See? Now you know why I'm in favor of this shutdown. Deborah, thank you so much for that call. Here we are, my friends. Federal government has now shut down. It shut down just 1 minute after midnight this morning. And Trump is now warning Democrats of irreversible consequences. In particular, he says that you are going to see hundreds and hundreds of thousands of federal bureaucrats get permanently laid off. It's not going to be your temporary furloughs like in the past, where, you know, they wouldn't get paid for a couple of pay cycles, but eventually they get back to their old jobs and they get all their back pay. He said, not this time. He said, this time we are going to doge the hell out of the swamp and the federal bureaucracy. As I said earlier, and this story is getting bigger and bigger now, 100,000 federal government employees are about to tender their resignation in protest against Trump and in support of the Democrats and Chuck Schumer and their call to shut the government down in order to provide illegal aliens with free health care. 617-266-6868 is the number. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. Okay, my friends, as we always do at this day in time at about 7:20-ish, Kuhner's call log. Sorry. Truth or troll? Sorry there, Mike. I got a little ahead of myself. Truth or troll? Take it away, Mike.
And now, America's favorite game show, where you get to decide on the Kuhner Report. This is Truth or Troll.
Today's entry for Truth or Troll comes from President Trump speaking to reporters prior to leaving for Quantico, Virginia, to go and meet with all of the military generals when he offers a stark warning to generals who are not meeting the standards.
These are our generals, our admirals, our leaders, and it's a good thing. A thing like this has never been done before because they came from all over the world, and there's a little bit of expense, not much, but there's a little expense to that. We don't like to waste it. We'd rather spend it on bullets and rockets, frankly. But this was the one time we had to do a great spiritizing. It's going to be great. I've seen it already. We have every general, every admiral. We have great people. We have our real warriors over there. And when they're not good, when we don't think they're our warriors, you know what happens? We say, you're fired. Get out.
So you're just going to fire them if they're not our warriors. If they're not fighting for us. So what do you think? Is he telling the truth here, or is he just trolling?
I think he's telling the truth, Mike. I think he's tired of these woke generals and these woke military officers, people like General Milley.
And it's the fat generals, too.
Yeah, and the fat generals. And that's the other thing. I know it's not part of the truth or troll, Mike, but I loved Hegseth's speech yesterday. I thought it was a great speech, an exceptional speech. And one of my favorite parts was where he's telling all these generals and admirals and commanders, you guys are too fat, man. Like, not all of you, but like many of you. You guys are a bunch of fatzos. like, no, we don't want fat generals. We don't want fat troops. We don't want fat military leaders. Like, you guys are turning into a bunch of slobs. So, no, if you're going to be a general, you got to be fit. I mean, I'm not saying you got to be Rambo, but you got to be fit. You got to look like a freaking general, and you got to inspire respect among the rank and file. I'm telling you, I was laughing. I'm like, yes, finally. Look at Milley. I'm in better shape than Milley. Seriously. I mean, you want to talk about a fat slob. Seriously. And this guy was the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Like, really? I mean, seriously. Like, another trip to the buffet table? Look at him. Look at him. The guy can barely make it. So I'm with Hegseth. I'm with Trump. Restore military standards. Restore fitness, physical testing. And yes, senior military leadership should not be massively overweight. I don't think they're asking for too much. And as for your truth or troll, no, I think he's telling the truth. We don't want a DEI military, a woke military, a transgender military, as Hegseth put it, dudes in dresses. So we want warriors. If you're not a warrior, there's the door. So honestly, I loved it. I like it that Trump is willing to fire people. That's why I'm supporting him with this, using this opportunity with the shutdown to lay people off permanently. I think we got way, way too many fat cats in the military, in the bureaucracy, across our entire government. So, yeah, I think he was telling the truth, Mike. But that's me. I want to ask the great audience of Kuhner Country. You can go to WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in National ER. Was Trump trolling or was he telling the truth when he said, if you don't have that warrior ethos, if you're not one of us, we're going to fire you, and we don't care what your rank is? Truth or troll? I want to hear from you. You can also vote via X. Again, last night, super active on X. My handle there, all one word, at the Kuhner Report. KUHN is in National ER, at the Kuhner Report. CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
It's all the way, Jeff. And I say, it's about time that the Republican Party grew a set. Let these people go. Just let them go. Because this is the final nail in the coffin of the Democratic Communist Party. As a matter of fact, if I'm stocked up on popcorn, I'm urging all voters in New York City, please vote for Mandani. Please vote for Mandani for mayor of the city of New York City. Really turn the Big Apple into the sour apple so that he can become the poster child for the new Democratic Communist Party. Jeff, the Democratic Communist Party, they're done in America because America has seen what they actually are. Look at the resounding victory over Kamala Harris that President Trump had. I mean, it wasn't just Republicans. I think Democrats have realized that they want America first as well. They want their children to have the best. They want their families to have their best. Why is it that they didn't say, the Democrats didn't come out and say, well, no, we not only want to give the illegals free health care. Hey, let's follow Massachusetts. Let's get them free housing. Let's put them up in 4-star hotels. Let's have them have meals delivered. Jeff, I've always believed that every citizen of the United States of America should have free health care and free dental care. I've always believed that. Instead of giving countries like Ukraine $200 billion, why not pour it into the health care system to give our own citizens free health care? I think that's what President Trump should be going for right now. But Schumer and the Democrats now.
CJ, can you just hang on? We're up against the break. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Trump now on the offensive. Democrats now trigger a government shutdown. They now own it, and already public opinion is turning against them. So let's go right back to CJ in Boston. CJ, you were making the point, with all of the money that we've been spending on illegal aliens, not just, in blue states like Massachusetts or California, but under Biden and going back many, many years. You're saying if we're going to be spending hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for free health care for illegals, this money should be used for free health care for American citizens, not illegals. Please pick up where you left off.
Believe that, Jeff, that, as taxpayers and as citizens, that is something that our tax dollars should be paying for, is our own health care and our own dental care. We don't need to be spending billions and billions of dollars on wars. But the Democrats have done themselves in. I think during this midterm election, you're going to see a number of these prominent Democrats not run for re-election, because this has definitely become the party, the Democratic Communist Party under Ocasio-Cortez. Look at these people that they're looking forward to be president. in the next election. Gavin Newsom of California, he just barely came back on a recall. He's ruined that state. They're looking at AOC. AOC, if you can remember, here's a woman that didn't know where the garbage disposal was. They want her to run for president of the United States. The Democratic Communist Party is done in this country. And Trump just needs to keep pushing on and pushing on with his agenda. But I think a critical point, Jeff, here, in everything that the president is trying to achieve, that is being turned down by these woke Democratic judges. He's being challenged at every turn. A recent one, again, is this judge in Massachusetts here, where they state that they can't deport these people who are here on green cards speaking out against our country. The $64,000 question has been and will always be, was the Constitution and its protections written for the citizens of our country or anyone who comes to visit here or any illegal who deems to cross our borders? That is the $64,000 question, Jeff. And another one of my beliefs is people who come here visiting, people who are here running green cards, people who come over the border illegally. And the mainstream media needs to be reminded, once you cross over the border, you've broken the law, you're a criminal. These people have no rights. They have no right to be here. They are guests in our country, or they are criminals who have come over our border. And Trump is right in taking action, but that's the question that needs to be answered.
Oh, I agree.
It needs to be
I really
brought.
agree. No, CJ, and that's coming. You can see that. That's coming now. He's birthright citizenship. He's taking that issue now all the way to the Supreme Court. And look, this is the problem now the Democrats have. The country is becoming under Trump an 80-20 country. And, and Trump, in fact, made that point yesterday. He said, poll Americans. Healthcare for illegals, taxpayer funded hundreds of billions of dollars for free healthcare for illegals, 80% are against. Women and men in women's sports, 80% are against. Wide open borders, flood the country with illegals, 80% are against. Releasing career criminals, dangerous, violent career criminals, so they can go out and continue to murder and stab and kill, 80% are against. I mean, you can just run down the issue. It's issue after issue after issue after issue. And so Trump's like, in fact, I can play you the cut. He goes, I thought my victory and the beating we gave him in 2024 would open their eyes and wake them up. He goes, I'm looking at their behavior now. They haven't learned a thing. They're just as crazy, if not crazier, than they were 2 years ago. So Trump is like, okay. Oh, hey, I'm not going to ask you to change your mind. Hey, you guys want to continue to shoot yourselves in the foot? Shoot yourselves in the foot. They're becoming marginalized. They're becoming irrelevant. They're becoming a minority party. They're becoming, as you rightly say, a communist socialist party, an anti-American party, an anti-God party, an anti-family party, a party really at war with America. And you can see it now. Without illegals, they're finished. Illegals are everything for them. You take away illegal aliens, they're cooked. They're cooked. And that's why they're willing to shut the whole damn country down. Because they have to save their illegals who are being deported, who Trump is now taking off welfare. He's now denying them health care on Medicaid. He got that in the big, beautiful bill. They're not getting Medicaid anymore. So they're not going to get free health care anymore. And the Democrats now have been smoked out. And you can't unring that bell. That's the problem. So really, all the Republicans have to do is stay on message and just keep hammering these points over and over and over again. If they do that, this is going to be a rout a political defeat of historic proportions. CJ, thank you so much for that call. And speaking of that, being on message, listen now to Senate Majority Leader John Thune. And you can tell now he's supremely confident. They're looking at the polls. They look at this now. They're like, we got him. We got him now right where we want him. Listen now to Senator Thune citing that very same New York Times poll. This, again, the New York freaking Times. He's saying the New York Times is trying to warn Democrats, don't do it. Don't do it. Roll cut 4A, Mike.
New York Times, and basically the question on views on whether Democrats should or should not shut down the government if their demands are not met. 65% should not, 27% should. Now, granted, I don't think the issue here is who gets the blame, who gets the political blame. That's not what this should be about. This issue, honestly, folks, is about the American people. But a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans, a lot of independents want us to keep the government open. So why are the Democrats doing this? As was mentioned 13 times when they had the majority, we did short-term continuing resolutions. Republicans delivered, voted with Democrats to fund the government. Well, I know why we're doing this, Mr. President. The Democrats' far left base said jump. The Democrat leaders said how high.
Bingo. Bingo. And look, Schumer's now eating his own words. Again and again and again, Schumer kept saying, this is going back decades, shutting down the government is the most irresponsible thing you could do, Schumer said. It's beyond reckless. It's criminal. You should be disqualified from office if you shut down the government. It's hostage taking. It's a threat to democracy. His words, to shut down the government. So, all of his opposition in the past. Well, I'll tell you this, Schumer's running. Oh, is he running? He is running and running and running from AOC. And that's why we have this shutdown. There's no question about it. This is him trying to desperately appease the radical left because he looks at Zohran Mamdani, who destroyed Andrew Cuomo, and says that's what AOC is going to do to me should she decide to primary me. And just listen to AOC. She was on MS Left BC, and she was asked by Chris Hayes, who, by the way, is a moonbat's moonbat, but let that go. Are you planning to primary Chuck U. Schumer? Are you planning to go after him in a primary challenge and dethrone him? Listen now to AOC's non-answer. A non-answer is an answer. Roll cut 11, Mike.
Because of that worry about a primary challenge, he's going to shut down the government. Ergo, it is AOC's fault that the government's shutting down, or that you're somehow the kind of fulcrum of this. And I want to just ask you straight up, are you planning to primary challenge him? Do you think that's why he's doing this?
This is so not about me in this moment. This is about people being able to insure their children. And I will say, because I saw some senators speculating about this, and I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open, and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly. Because what I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance.
Yeah, now kids are dying. It's not working. You guys have used this now for so many freaking decades. Seriously, this is so old, honestly. But notice, she didn't answer the question. You ask anybody else, literally anybody else, are you planning on primarying Chuck Schumer? No. Why would I primary Chuck? Why? He's the Senate Democratic leader. He's the most powerful man in Washington for the Democrats. At this point, right, he's even more powerful than Hakeem Jeffries or Pelosi. He's the most powerful Democrat in Washington, D.C. Think about this. Look, I think he's a jerk. Don't get me wrong. But the fact of the matter is, who is more powerful than Chuck Schumer? And again, to show you his power, just not to get too much into the weeds, the House passed, the Republicans in the House passed their continuing resolution. The Democrats vote, with the exception of one, they voted against it. Okay, almost every Democrat, with the exception of one, Jared Golden in Maine. He was the only one, and he's in a Trump district. So he knows politically this is stupid. But outside of that one Maine Democrat, every other Democrat voted against it. And so, big deal. They don't have the majority. In the House, the majority rules. Bang, it passed. But not in the Senate, even though the Republicans have it 53-47. Because there you have the filibuster, the 60-vote threshold for almost every major piece of legislation. So, who is the kingmaker? It's Chuck U. Schumer. If Schumer says, no, we can get you 7 votes or 8 votes, then you have a continuing resolution. The government doesn't shut down. If Chuck U. Schumer says, no one's going to vote for this, then you don't have your 60 votes and there's a shutdown. And that's literally what happened last night. So what I'm saying is, he's the most powerful Democrat in Congress. He's the most powerful Democrat in Washington. You ask anybody else, are you going to primary Chuck? Are you crazy? Because if I say yes, Chuck is going to kill me. He's going to crush me. But look at her. Look at her. She can feel the wind now behind her sails, underneath her wings. Look at her. She's, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not going to answer. But you want to negotiate? You come and negotiate with me. You come to my office. Because remember, she endorsed Mamdani. Against the Democrat establishment, she endorsed Mamdani, and he is running away with it in New York. The Moonbats now are going to elect a commie as mayor of New York, a full-blown Marxist communist. Okay? A Muslim Marxist communist as the mayor of New York. And AOC says, if Mamdani can take New York City, why the hell can't I take the state of New York and become their senator? And if you look at all the polls, she will destroy Chuck Schumer. And Chuck knows that. And that's why we have a government shutdown. Literally, he's petrified of being primaried. And now the radical left wants to oppose Trump for the sake of opposing him. Burn the country down, burn the government down, burn Trump down if need be, but oppose. Scorched earth. And that's why Chucky now is, the problem is he's not a good bomb thrower. She's a good bomb thrower. You know, the beret, the revolutionary Che Guevara beret, okay, you know, that communist beret that Fidel Castro wore and Che Guevara wore and Hugo Chavez wore, that fits on her head. It's her style. Chucky, that's not Chuck's style. Chucky is a machine politician. He's a party man. That's what he is. So he's dirty, he's vicious, he's a liar. But Chucky, you know, in the end, he's not some communist bomb thrower. No. AOC and Mamdani are. Bernie is. And that's why Chuck is looking at the polls. And by the way, this guy's in his 70s. He's been in politics forever. You know what an empty, pathetic life this guy leads? And by the way, if he is primaried, it's going to be in 2028. 2028. That's 3 more years. And so he'll be pushing almost 80 years old. But the thought of not being in power, The thought of not being the Senate Democratic leader. The thought of, God forbid, okay, say you lose the primary. Okay, so you're retired. You're almost 80 anyway. Enjoy a couple years of your life while you still have your health. No. He's so corrupted and consumed by power. He doesn't he doesn't know what to do with himself. Like, I'm not going to be in power. I can't deal with it. And here we are. This is why we are where we are. Now, when something this stupid, this irrational, this petty, this selfish is what's driving the Democrats, that is political disaster. And Trump now knows it and he sees it. And the one thing about Trump, when he sees an opening, he's like a boxer in the ring. Think Mike Tyson in his prime. When Tyson saw that he had you, he went for your throat. And that's what Trump is doing now. And politically, he's doing the right thing. He's going now for the political kill shot, the knockout blow. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Annie in Chelsea. Thanks for holding, Annie, and welcome.
Hello.
Annie.
Greetings from the sanctuary city of Chelsea. Jeff, I love you in a non-sexual way.
Thank you, Annie.
Lips sinks ships. Jeff, what a mother of a boomerang. Another one bites the dust.
Thank you, Annie. No, I got to tell you, when Maxine Waters came out and said, we're doing it for free health care for illegals. I'm like, it's the ball game. Okay. It's over, guys. Now you just loop it and just loop it. That's all. They're done. They're cooked. 617-266-6868. John in Peabody. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
The powerful Kuhner.
John, how are you, buddy?
Kevin.
John, hold on, my friend. Something happened. You sound like a droid in Star Wars. You don't sound like a human being anymore. Let's see if we can reconnect with John and have him sound like a normal human being. John, are you there? Yeah. Hold on, John. Hold on. Let's try it one more time. John, are you there? Yeah. John, do me a favor. I'm going to come back to you, I promise. Let's see if we can fix that connection, okay? Otherwise, you sound like a robot. I'm telling you. You sound like an AI, or like some kind of an android. All right, let's go to Dan in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dan. We're going to try John one more time. All right, John, hopefully the third time is the charm.
Are you there, Jeff?
Oh, my God, you sound like a person. Yes, John, go ahead, my friend.
Okay, Jeff, I have a question for you, if I can throw this at you. Do you believe in the theory of cycles?
Yes.
Like the economy cycle, the housing cycle?
Yes.
I believe, and I told my wife this and she laughed, but she agreed. I believe this is the cycle of stupidity. This is the cycle of stupidity that started with Biden and just worked its way up. And the idea of we're allowing stupid to run our lives. We're allowing stupid to take the wheel, to cut in line. The imbeciles who give us the finger when they're the ones who blew the stop sign, the ones who step off the curb, who didn't look both ways, and the one who takes videos when someone's getting shot. And now look at the imbeciles in government. Look at these people trying to run our lives and what they think they're contributing to making our lives better. So to get to your point, where we're cutting the government, I strongly believe shut this government down. But the bigger question is, will the money flow in the right direction? if it happens? Will it stop flowing? Will I see it in my paycheck? Will I see it, finally going to the right people like veterans and people who don't have insurance and people who just work hard to earn their money? But will these idiots just keep on dipping their hands in it and placing our hard-earned money in the right direction? Because I'll tell you right now, Jeff, with all honesty, since Trump has been in, I haven't seen any improvement. I haven't seen anything. I'm not seeing it in my check. I'm not seeing it in the economy. I'm not seeing it when I go to the grocery store. Not stepping up, and I know he's got a lot of hurdles, and they're throwing a lot of stone walls in front of him, but I'm not seeing it. And will I see it if this government shuts down? That's the bigger question.
Well, it's not. Look, John, to be brutally honest with you, like I'm in the confessional, the short answer is no. You're not going to see a bigger paycheck. You're not going to see inflation go down, at least not in the short term. You're not going to see your quality of life or your standard of living. It's not going to get better. What is going to happen is a lot of parasites, and really I'm choosing my words very carefully, a lot of leeches, freeloaders, and I'm talking not 1 or 2 or 10 or 20. We're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them who are ensconced, embedded throughout the entire bureaucracy, that you are paying so much of your taxes to pay for their outrageous salaries, and they do nothing. Literally, they do nothing. And these outrageous pensions that really, it's infuriating when you hear. I mean, it's funny, either you laugh or you cry, but really it's infuriating. These are people who have done nothing for 20, 30, 40 years, gotten paid, gotten great benefits, and then leave with a $90, $100, $110, $120,000 a year pension. That, in other words, we can't keep pulling this cart. Like we're the horse and we can't pull this anymore. And so, we're going bankrupt as a country. This has to happen. They have to be pushed out. They have to be permanently laid off. That's what Elon kept saying over and over again. He goes, look, I'm a businessman. I'm a numbers guy. I believe in reality. I believe in mathematics. 2 + 2 = 4, period. Not 3, not 5. And we're going to go bankrupt as a country. We need Doge, period. No Doge, there's no America. And he's right. This is giving us the chance to finish what Doge started. And that's the benefit for you, me, our children, our grandchildren. But that's down the road. Look, John, to answer your question in a different way, I'm looking at this media coverage, and they're so trying to spin it for the Democrats, and you can tell it's just not working. No one believes them anymore, and their BS is so bad now. But no one's stating the obvious, like hello, like the sky is blue, like hello, can't you all see it? We don't have $1.5 trillion to spend. It's for the children. It's for people. Children are dying of cancer, and people are uninsured. And by the way, I thought Obamacare was going to take care of all that, but let that go. We don't have the $1.5 trillion. That's it. There's nothing else to say. Sorry, no, there's no money. Whether we need it or not is irrelevant. There's no more money. There's no money. We spend $1 trillion a year on our military. $1 trillion, John. $1 trillion. No country in the history of the world has come close to spending $1 trillion a year on military. And that's not the number one thing we spend our money on. The number one thing we now spend our money on is the interest on the debt. Not paying the debt. It's like the Visa card. You got too many, your credit card debt, you're swamped up to your eyeballs. You're not paying the balance on the Visa or the American Express or the MasterCard. Now you're just paying the 20, 22, 23, whatever it is, percent. That's all you're paying now. It comes in, the payment comes in, and you're like, oh my God, it's like ballooning. And okay, all I can do now is just pay the interest. That's it. And it's not even we're paying the interest. Now we're taking out credit cards to pay the interest on the other credit cards. It's a Ponzi scheme. Eventually, the whole thing is going to come crashing down. So it's not that you're going to see a benefit. You're not. But at least we're starting to pay down the freaking debt. We're starting to slowly dig our way out of this hole. Now, let me get to the heart of your point, and I want to get your take on this. We've been having very interesting conversations the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks in the Kuhner household. And I'm having interesting conversations with my sister, with my sister-in-law in Arizona. They all have voted for Trump 3 times. They are all Trump supporters. These are not liberals. These are not Democrats. These are not rhinos. These are all hardcore MAGA Trump supporters. They're not happy with the job that he's doing on the economy. They like him as president. They like what he's doing on immigration. They like his border policies. They like his deportations. They like what he's doing on crime. There are many things that he's doing they love. But to your point, they tell me exactly what you're telling me. Their pocketbook is not feeling it. They go to the grocery store. This is what they tell me. Prices are just as high. They're not seeing it in their take-home pay. They're not seeing bigger wages. The only thing they're admitting, they're saying, yeah, gas prices have gone down. But outside of gas, they go, we're not feeling this recovery. Something is not connecting here. And for the first time, I'm hearing serious complaints. And it's not that they're anti-Israel, quite to the contrary, or anti-Ukraine, quite to the contrary. They're sympathetic to Israel. They're sympathetic to Ukraine. But if you want, I can read you a text from my sister-in-law in Scottsdale. Hardcore conservative. Voted for Trump 3 times. She said, peace in Ukraine or peace in Israel or peace in Gaza, to be more accurate. I want peace in my pocket, in my pocketbook. What is Trump doing trying to be peacemaker all over the world? This is the complaint. What about us? We didn't vote for him to get the Nobel Peace Prize 15 times. It's nice that he's winding down wars. It's great. It's nice that he wants to end conflicts. No one's against that. But they feel that he's lost his focus, that he's not focusing on the economy and on inflation and on reducing sky-high prices that we inherited from Biden. What say you, John?
Well, that was my point, Jeff, is when will I ride down the road and see the billboard that says we did it. We finally got it under control. We're putting money in the right direction. And again, as long as this government keeps promoting imbeciles who are willing to fight him and stand against him, we may never see it. And I'm taking to your point, is that we may not see it because there always will be stupid people in our lives who only think of themselves. Only think of themselves. That's my final point, Jeff.
John, thank you very, very much for that call. Well, that's Trump's big complaint. He goes, all I face is resistance, obstruction, obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. 617-266-6868 is the number. Maggie in Amesbury. Thanks for holding, Maggie, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff.
Hi, Maggie.
I don't know if anyone has said this, but I am so frustrated with Congress on both sides of the aisle. I mean, Trump is only one person, and I think he's doing a great job. But no, we should never, year after year, we come to this budget crisis. Sometimes it's the Republicans, sometimes it's the Democrats. They have the power in their hands to make the changes we need. They're not doing their job. Healthcare is so expensive. Fix it. Put the legislation in. Now's the perfect time to do immigration reform. make the tax code different, make it easier, promote private jobs. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a failure on all sides, and I'm just sick of the finger pointing, the grandstanding. Do your job. It's not that hard. I want to fire all of them, to be honest with you, and because I just feel like Trump and the administration, they're the only ones fighting for us. And Congress, I'm just tired of all of them. I mean, am I wrong? I just feel like they have the power to put the legislation in place, and they're losing these opportunities to substantially fix the problems in our country. Healthcare should never be so expensive. The reason it's so expensive is because we over-medicate, we over-test, we over-vaccinate. I mean, let's be real. Let's look at these issues and put the proper things in place. And they could do this in a matter of years if they did their job. I don't know. Sorry.
No, Maggie. No, please don't apologize. It's an outstanding call, and you're making absolutely superb points. Superb. No, look, this is the problem with both the Republicans and the Democrats. They're the uniparty. In the end, they're controlled by the donors, they're controlled by lobbyists, and they're controlled by special interests. And so, you mentioned healthcare. Well, they're all in the pocket of big pharma, just to give an obvious example, or the health insurance companies. So they don't care that healthcare keeps getting more and more and more expensive for people like you and me. They don't care. And it's not just that they pay for their campaigns and they get them reelected. It's that they put their spouses or family members on these boards and they make millions, and I mean millions of dollars. So you go to Washington to get rich. That's why you go to Washington. That's why Trump says, I've never seen a bigger bunch of frauds and grifters in my entire life. These are not people who, how do I say this? You have very talented people in the private sector. I mean, I'm just being honest. So they're extremely hardworking, very innovative, highly educated, very dynamic, and they produce real wealth, real, quality. They're productive, and they hire people, they create jobs, they create great products, they give great services. So, yeah, I wish you all the success in the world. Yeah, you want to make millions? Please, go ahead. You deserve it. You work for it. You've earned it. You're contributing real value to society. These are grifters. In fact, to be honest with you, it's organized crime, but they're smarter. Look, I used to always say this, and it's more true now than it ever was. If somebody walks up to me and he says, Jeff, I have no talent. I'm lazy. I don't want to work very hard. I don't care for my country. I want to make a lot of money. I want to be very successful. I want to have a very comfortable life. And I don't want to have to earn my money. Should I get into the mob? Should I become, a drug trafficker, a drug dealer, whatever? No, because I'm telling you, you're likely going to get killed, or you're going to get arrested and you're going to go to jail. What you really should do is get into politics, because it's essentially a license to steal. Now, you have to have no conscience. You have to be able to lie to people's faces without, shameless. You have to be utterly, what the Jews say, chutzpah. You have to be brazen, no cheek, as the English used to say. Now, I'm using Schumer as an example, okay? Here's a guy, Maggie, I could play you hundreds of cuts, going back 30 years. You don't do a shutdown. Shutdowns are destructive. It's almost treason. Reckless, irresponsible. My God, how can you do this? It's the most immoral thing you can do. Now, we need a shutdown. Health care. Kids are dying. How many years have you guys been going around with health care policy? And remember, when they sold Obamacare to us, there was Schumer saying you'll never see another child go without health insurance again. No child will go untreated if they have cancer. All you've got to do is pass Obamacare. They lie and lie and lie like a cheap used car salesman. And that's the only skill they have. They lie to you without even batting an eye. Now, to be honest, Maggie, I swear to you, like I'm in a confessional, believe it or not, them I still get. Because they're basically political gangsters. That's what they are. They're political gangsters. They even dress like political gangsters. They talk like political gangsters. They act like political gangsters. Now, them I get. Because you're talking about who would hire Chuck Schumer for anything. I'm just using him as an example. Hakeem Jeffries, who would hire this loser? John Thune, this machine man. You wind him up like a doll, and there is something that spits out of his mouth. Or Mini Mike. Who the hell would hire Mini Mike for anything? Mike Johnson. But at least they're lining their pockets. I get their self-interest. Okay, just to quickly wrap up what I was saying, because I want to go right back to the full phone lines. So, yeah, these are political gangsters. And once you understand that, everything makes sense. They're there to steal. They're there to embezzle. They're there to line their pockets. They're there to lie to you. They're there to serve themselves. They are venal. They're corrupt. Their biggest skill is they are pathological liars. And as I said, they have no face. They don't care. They will lie and lie and lie, and literally they will take one position one day, take the exact opposite position the next day, and not even blink. Now, if you're that kind of person, then politics is for you. If you're not, then politics disgusts you. It truly is disgusting. And if you notice, that's why someone like Trump, who's not like that, is a person of principle, a man of the private sector, a man who comes from business, whatever you think about him, or his character, or his personality, or, his wives, or whatever you think about his background. The man was a genuine entrepreneur who built things, produced real value, had a very thriving, successful financial empire, and is worth billions of dollars. That's why he always has this look around him like they're just all a bunch of frauds. Now, again, at least with these take a guy like Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is a very wealthy man. He has stolen a lot of money. So I understand he's fighting for his power. He's fighting to retain his power. So him, in a sick, evil, twisted way, I get. I can wrap my mind around a guy like him. What I don't get are the Bills in Sudbury. And I'm just using Bill as an example. The crazy activists who aren't getting rich, who at best are maybe getting crumbs off the table, okay? A welfare check, some kind of a government handout. What the hell are you doing? Parroting their lies. That's the scary thing. It was the same thing when I used to go back to my parents' to the ancestral homeland, to my parents' old country where they were born and raised under the, behind the Iron Curtain. I'd be like, okay, the communist apparatchik, I get why he's lying, because he's stealing. And he lives in a dacha. He lives better. He has a nice apartment. He has things that most people don't. But the person on the ground who's living in such poverty and misery and is being shafted and fleeced, frankly screwed over by the communist regime, and you're swallowing their lies and you're repeating and parroting their lies, honestly, the politicians don't even believe what they're saying. The Bills in Sudbury believe what they're saying. That's the scariest thing of all. That's why you kind of look at him and you're like, dude, what is wrong with you? Now, let me just say this. I put it up on X last night. Now, it's a little bit off, but it goes back to John and Peabody's point and Maggie's point. What are politicians doing for us? What is the establishment? What is the political class doing for us? And the rise of stupid people. Stupid people in government and stupid people who vote for stupid people in government. In Massachusetts, residents got their energy bill again. I got mine. My neighbors got theirs. Most people in Massachusetts got their latest energy bill. It is up another 20 freaking percent. Another 20% massive increase. It keeps going up. It goes up. It never goes down. And I don't mean it goes up 1%, 2%, 3%. It keeps going up 15, 20, 25%. Every 3 to 4 months. Bang, 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 bang. You can set your watch to it. Now, as I said on X, and this has to be repeated. Now, this is like saying 2 + 2 = 4. I'm just giving a statement of fact. In Massachusetts, this is undeniable. Under Governor Holden Healy, under Maura Healey, under Democratic rule, Democrats control the entire legislature. They control the governorship. They control most mayoralties. They control the mayor of Boston. They run this state. You want to talk about a political mafia? This is a one-party state. They run it. Here it is. Under the Democrats and under Healey, they have now crushed the middle class. Skyrocketing energy costs. It's undeniable. Record energy costs. Energy bills never higher. The energy rates never higher. Home heating never higher. Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Record taxes never higher. In the history of Massachusetts, never higher. It's a fact. Soaring housing prices, never higher. Home prices have never been higher in Massachusetts. Rents soaring, never been higher. She's declared war on taxpayers and the middle and working class. All people now are working for is to pay their freaking energy, their utility bills, pay their taxes. You're barely able to pay your mortgage or pay your rent. Good luck if you want to buy a home, because it's out of reach for 90 to 95% of the population. So you tell me, how the hell do stupid people keep electing these people like Healy and keep re-electing Democrats? I'm just stating the obvious. And then, to state a further obvious point, where the hell is the mass GOP? Where's the Republican Party? You should be politically feasting right now. All you've got to do is run against the skyrocketing energy costs. That's it. That's it. Run against the high energy bills. Run against the record taxes. Run against how buying a home is now unaffordable for the overwhelming majority of people in Massachusetts, and pretty soon they can't even pay their rent. Nothing. Nothing. How stupid can you be? Because they're corrupt. Because they don't want to win. Because it's not about the truth. It's not about defending the people's interests. It's about being controlled opposition and lining your freaking pockets. It's really that simple. And so, going back to the shutdown, as Maggie said, and she's right, she goes, how come neither political party works for us? I'll tell you why. Follow the money. Every member of Congress, Republican or Democrat, once they get elected, they may come in poor. they all walk out multi-millionaires. And they're all getting $175,000 a year salary. It's a little higher in the Senate, about $200,000. And stupid people don't say, how is that happening? How is that happening? And they're stealing from us. It's coming at our expense. So to Bill in Sudbury, I'm just using him as an example. You like paying record heating bills? You like to pay a record utility bill? Like you like to pay all that? You like to pay, if you do pay taxes, you like paying record taxes? You like paying $3,000 a month for a 1.5 or 2.5 apartment? You like not being able to afford a house? Okay, I want to go right to the phone lines. This is from 703. Jeff. Forgive me. This is from 508. Jeff, as to the soaring and record energy costs here in Massachusetts, what I've also noticed, the delivery charge for the energy I use costs more than the actual energy that I use. That's my point. That's the racket. That's this whole Green New Deal climate change scam. It's deliberate to keep costs higher and higher and higher, to force us off fossil fuels and eventually force us to wind and solar. That's why the high cost that you're paying is deliberate. It's a deliberate policy by Healy, by the Democrats. Now, my point being, just stupid people voting for stupid politicians, or stupid Republicans at the Mass GOP committee who obviously don't want to win elections. Here's what you say. Your energy costs, the delivery, is not going to be higher than what you use. Those days are over, man. So, I'm going to run on lower energy costs, lowering home prices and rents. We're going to start cutting taxes, and we're going to deport illegal aliens. We're going to end sanctuary cities. In other words, I'm ending the war on the middle and working class. Boom, you've just won an election. I'm telling you, even in Massachusetts, you just won. I mean, it's not rocket science, really. Bread and butter issues. But does anybody care? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Yeah, poll question of the day. Sponsored by Mario's. Mario's quality roofing, siding, and windows. And it's really, I think, very apropos for the government shutdown now that we're all about to, that we are enduring as I talk to you. So it happened last night at midnight. So let me ask you, who is going to cave first on the shutdown? A, Democrats, B, Republicans. Who do you think will surrender or blink first? A, Democrats, B, Republicans. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in national ER. And, of course, you can vote via X. And, again, last night, super active on X. My handle there, all one word, at the Kuhner Report, at the Kuhner Report, KUHN as in national ER. In the past, I would have voted B, Republicans. They always cave. That's all they do is cave. This is different. This is a Trump Republican Party, and Trump's giving out the orders. This time, the Democrats cave. The Republicans will not cave. My money's on Trump. I think he's going to break the Democrats. And so I would vote A. I think the Democrats will be the first to cave, but that's me. I want to hear from you. Tom, red, white, and blue dynamite baby in New Jersey. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
God, country, family, and then the Kuhner report. That's red, white, and blue dynamite, baby.
Tom, what do you make of the shutdown, my friend?
Jeff, first of all, God help you, buddy. I hope you're well. We need you desperately.
I'm getting better. Yes, every day my ribs are getting better. Thank you, Tom.
Awesome. You're welcome, Jeff. Jeff, these lefty Democrats are committing financial treason on the United States of America. I want all Americans to go to the U.S. debt clock. We're approaching $38 trillion in national debt. And what never gets talked about, Jeff, there's $105 trillion in unfunded liabilities that are down the road. Social Security goes bankrupt in 2034, and we're all looking at a 20% cut. What bankruptcy means is there is more outflow in Social Security in 2034 than there is inflow. Jeff, I think we should declare an impasse. This is not the art of the deal. This is the art of the correction. Let these Democrats bring their budget to the Supreme Court of the United States. Let's bring our correction budget, which is pre-scamdemic, plandemic spending, to the Supreme Court of the United States. And just like in a divorce court, Jeff, which fortunately I only know of, I've never experienced, thank God. Let's bring it to the courthouse, and let's have the Supreme Court declare, for the sake of our financial security, because we're going bankrupt at some point. It's not if, it's a matter, it's not if, it's when. And Jeff, because these Democrats, they're never going to agree, and if we agree with them, it's going to be more deficit spending. We have to get this corrected. We're approaching the edge of the cliff, and I think it's time, Jeff. I really do, that we've got to do something different here. And this shutdown is another get Trump, Jeff. That's what this is.
Oh, you nailed it.
Get Trump.
Oh, you're right. No, you're right. This is to spit in Trump's face. This is more resistance. This is just oppose for the sake of opposing. Yeah, get Trump, burn him, burn the government, in many ways burn the country down. But I got to tell you, Tom, buddy, I think the Democrats this time really overplayed their hand. And I just want to play this cut. This is Russ Vought. He's the budget director under President Trump, Office of Management and Budget Director. And this is what he said on Fox. And look at the way, I've never seen Republicans this strong, this vocal, and counter-punching this effectively. And look at the way he's portraying the Democrats. I mean, they really got him 6 ways to Sunday. Listen now to Vought. And by the way, he's the guy who's sharpening his knife to make all these cuts now that the shutdown's taking place. He's been waiting 20 years to carve up the federal bureaucracy. 20 years. So he told Trump, if they shut it down, turn me loose, baby. This is going to be Doge on steroids. Listen now to OMB Director Russ Vought. Roll cut 9, Mike.
We have the authority to make permanent change to the bureaucracy here in government. And I think the takeaway for the American people is that we are on the brink of a government shutdown that is caused entirely by Democrats based on their outrageous demands of about $1.5 trillion. And when you hear them talk about health care, all they're talking about is keeping illegals on these health care programs. They're talking about preserving, most of the time, fraudulent payments to insurance companies for people that don't even know that they have a health care plan. That's what you're talking about. And so we're not going to be held hostage to these kinds of insane, ridiculous demands by the Democrats.
Tom, this never happened under Kevin McCarthy or John Boehner, or you never saw the Republicans this forceful, this defiant, this vocal, frankly, this effective. And it's Trump. It's Trump, Trump, Trump. He's declared, the Democrats have declared war on America. Trump has now declared war on the Democrats. And they chose the worst time and the worst ground to fight their battle now against Trump. And that's why if the Republicans stick to their guns, the Democrats are going to get destroyed. So don't cave. Hang on and watch the Democrats implode. Because I'm telling you, the American people are going to roast them. They're going to cook the Democrats over this shutdown. Tom, thank you so much for that call. Cindy in Maine. Thanks for holding, Cindy, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
I'm going back to your caller a few calls ago, John, where he doesn't see the difference in his check. Well, I have big time. I'm a tour guide in Boston, Jeff. And in the past, we used to see a lot of Canadians and people from England visit Boston. I've been a tour guide for about 13, 15 years. And the Canadians and the people from England are very nice people, but they notoriously do not tip. Jeff, my tips are more than doubled this year in 13, 15 years. We're seeing people from Iowa, Missouri, Michigan, Ohio, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky. We've never seen that. So in reference, in my pocket, yes, I have seen the difference. And as far as gas prices, they've gone down a little. In my experience, cheaper in Massachusetts and Maine, but at least they haven't skyrocketed like they probably would have if Trump hadn't won. So what I'm saying, in essence, hang in there, because he's just setting the stage for what's going to happen in the future. Thank you.
You know, Cindy, before I let you go, it's so well put, by the way. You sound like me at the dinner table. Because that's the debate I have with Grace, and when I'm on the phone with my sister-in-law in Arizona or my sister in Arizona. I'm like, it is better. I disagree. But hold on, relax, give it time. It's only going to get better and better. And my God, it would have been so much worse had Kamala won. So, Cindy, I got to ask you this, because it's funny, because when I was in Croatia, the taxi drivers there were telling me the same thing, that Brits and Canadians are horrible tippers. Oh, by the way, for some reason they had it out for the Italians. I don't know why, but the Italians, the Canadians, and the Brits, they go horrible tippers. I said, well, who are the best tippers? They go, oh, Americans. They go, we love Americans. They go, Americans are the best tippers. Cindy, do you find in your business, in the tourism business, that the Canadians and the Brits they're notoriously bad tippers? Would you say they're cheap when it comes to tipping?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lovely people. Lovely people. And what I'm hearing from contacts that I have, especially in Canada, that their governments are telling them not to come here because it's dangerous. Now, that's not true. And one more thing, Jeff, if I may. We need to learn in our schools, just like math and English, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Because, Jeff, until I became a tour guide, I had no idea John Hancock, Paul Revere, Ben Franklin, Sam Adams, John Adams, Joseph Warren. My God, he was so instrumental. What a patriot he was. People don't know these people. And you know what, Jeff? Unlike you, I wouldn't spend a dime in another country. I love this country so much that I'm not leaving it till I see every state.
Cindy, that's a beautiful sentiment. Really, you're a great patriot. Cindy, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. Okay, speaking of family disagreements, joining me now, as she always does at this time, Dr. Grace, putting liberals in their place. Grace Vuoto, yes, my wonderful better half, and I definitely married up. Grace, how are you?
I'm very well. We agree a lot more than we disagree.
No, I know. But to be fair, I want to talk about the shutdown, obviously. But to be fair, you and I do have a disagreement on the economy, right? I mean, I don't want to get into it now, but you do think it's not picking up the way it should. You're not seeing prices go down. You think Trump has lost some of his focus on the economy. that he should be laser focused more and not doing things around the world, that he should be focusing much more on driving down prices, getting the real estate market up and going again, getting the economy booming. So you and I have had that disagreement, and your sister Lori feels the same way. She agrees with you.
Yes.
My sister Jennifer agrees with you. So
and the disagreement really came from the timing and the execution of the tariffs. And everything I said that was going to result from the tariffs has happened. So do we want to discuss this now? But anyways, that slowed everything down, and we didn't get 90 deals in 90 days. We didn't get that. But look, I don't disagree that I know what his long-term goal was, but it was just the timing.
No, I know. I like the tariffs, and you and I. But again, look, that's a discussion for another day. Let me get to the shutdown.
Yes.
What do you make of this shutdown, number one? And number two, who do you think is going to be blamed? And who do you think is going to pay the ultimate price? The Republicans or the Democrats? What say you?
Well, Jeff, let me tell you this. Your imitation of Schumer earlier was hilarious. Of all the contradictions, that was priceless, what you did. I think it was in the 8 o'clock hour. But let me tell you this. It is the Schumer shutdown. I think the Democrats are going to be blamed for this because what do we see every day? We see, whether we agree or we disagree, like we opened the show with you and I not 100% on the same page on Trump's tariff policy, but regardless, what do we see every day? We see that the president and the Republicans are working so hard. Every single day we're seeing speeches, we're seeing developments, we're seeing policies. So we're seeing that they're on the side of trying to get things done on crime, on the border, you name it, on foreign policy. They're all over the place. So the overall perception is the Republicans are working hard, and the Democrats have put themselves in a box because what did they do? They exaggerated the rhetoric. They called him a fascist, an authoritarian. They keep going down this crazy road, and so now their base is saying this. If he's a fascist and a tyrant and an authoritarian, don't fund the government. So they are boxed in by their own crazy rhetoric. And the public sees this, and we see that they are the party of non-government. They are the party of violence. So this is the Schumer shutdown. I think they are being outplayed, especially by the administration gambit to say, you're going to shut the government down, fine. We're even going to lay off other workers. It's all on you. Brilliant.
What do you make of the argument the Democrats are making that health care is going to be the big issue in the midterms? And by highlighting health care and claiming there's a quote-unquote health care crisis, that in the end this is going to boomerang against Trump and the Republicans. Is the issue of spending hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars to give illegal aliens free health care, is this a winner for the Democrats now, tomorrow, and in the midterms?
It's not a winner because we even see that Trump is ahead of the ball on health care. He's the one that's trying to lower prices overall. So they are floundering. And, of course, you have Kamala Harris now making a complete fool of herself on the book tour. So everywhere you look, the Democrats are messing it up. But what the public sees is this. You got to be kidding me. The only job of the government is to fund itself, right, and to keep governing. And when you see that there's a shutdown, it means that the only job they're supposed to do, they're not doing. And in this case, that rebounds all upon the Democrats, who are incompetent on other policies as well. So it's clear that they're going to get the blame for this, and they're not going to be able to win on the health care issue. The only vulnerability that Trump will have in the midterm that I see so far is the economy, if it doesn't totally boom, as we all hope it will by then.
Should the taxpayers, should we pay for free health care for illegal aliens? And why are the Democrats so ferociously willing to defend this to the point that it could politically destroy them? Why are they so willing to defend the right of illegals to free health care?
They are boxed in by their base. Their base told them that in March They should have held firm that Schumer caved, and so now they have no choice. They have to give them something because they keep telling them that they are facing a tyrant, and this is one of the ways that they're, fighting against the tyranny. Right now, they are completely floundering. They don't have a vision. They don't have a leader. They don't have policies. They really don't know what they're doing. And Jeff, we've had 21 government shutdowns since 1976. Can you believe that? That is a ridiculous number.
Wow. Okay, very quickly, the Democrats also say that they want to not just give illegal aliens hundreds of billions of dollars for free health care, but they also want to give billions and billions for free transgender surgeries to minors and children. So, should you and I pay for the health care of illegals? Should you and I pay for free sex change operations for minors who identify as trans?
Absolutely not. And the public is overall standing with this administration when it comes to all the border policies, all of the efforts to establish law and order across the country. And sadly, it's our military members now who, even during this shutdown, sadly, they're going to be paid but retroactively. I even feel bad for them. Like, why do they have to go through that inconvenience of struggling for a little bit before they get paid back? Think about this. If your check is missing for a few weeks, I know that, it's not the end of the world, but it's inconvenient. And I think that the Republicans should emphasize it. It's the Schumer shutdown. They care about illegals, and they don't mind inconveniencing our core federal personnel, even our military members, who have to go, without pay until they're paid retroactively later. Like, that's not fair. That's a lot of stress.
Dr. Grace putting liberals in their place. Grace Woto. Grace, as always, superb stuff. We'll talk to you next week, same time, same place. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Trump now is clearly getting into their heads. He's in Schumer's head. He's in Hakeem Jeffries' head. And they're melting down. The Democrats are losing this shutdown fight when, before the shutdown even happened last night at midnight, they were already losing their minds in front of the media. And so here is what Trump did. At the meeting they had behind closed doors at the White House, he started to place Trump 2028, or his people, to be more accurate, were placing Trump 2028 baseball caps everywhere in the room. So Schumer and Jeffries are like looking at this and is he going to run again? Does he want to make himself dictator for life? Like, what the hell is going on here? And to spoof the Democrats, because they're basically shutting the government down and risking everything to give free health care to illegal aliens. Government fund, taxpayer funded free health care to illegals. So what Trump's people did, and it is an absolutely hilarious spoof, using artificial intelligence, they used the press conference that Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries did after they met with Trump. And by using AI, they changed Schumer's voice. And they began to put words in his mouth. He didn't obviously say it, but spoofing the Democrats, how they're so full of it, how everybody knows they're so full of it, how nobody supports them anymore, nobody believes in them anymore. And then beside Schumer is Hakeem Jeffries, who basically is like a doorknob. He just stands there and lets Schumer do all the talking and the yakking. And of course, they drew a little mustache. They put the sombrero hat onto Hakeem Jeffries. And what they're making fun of, pretending like it's a mariachi band and that they're part of this mariachi band, is they're making fun of the fact that Schumer and Jeffries are willing to shut the country and the government down on behalf of illegal aliens. That's the whole point. Here is the AI-generated spoof video that has Democrats' heads and the media, their heads exploding. Roll cut 7A, Mike.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
I gotta tell you, it's absolutely, I think I watched it multiple times. I get laughing as much every time. Now, yeah, it's not Schumer. Please, everybody you have to know, it's not Schumer. I mean, it's his face and they're moving his mouth, but it's AI generated. This is not Schumer. They're just mocking Schumer. And pretending that's what he said at that press conference on Monday. But you got standing right next to him the whole time is Jeffries. And so he's got the mustache, this AI-generated mustache, this AI-generated sombrero on his hat, his hat on his head, and with the mariachi music in the background. It was obviously a joke. It was intended as a joke. It's a satire. It's a spoof. It's meant in good humor. He's poking fun at the Democrats. Nope. Hakeem Jeffries lost his freaking mind. So he then calls out a press conference. He calls a press conference to call out Trump. Yup, playing the race card. Trump is a racist. And he's got all these Democrats behind him. And Hakeem Jeffries, he was spitting mad. Roll cut 7, a Mike.
Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
Well, the problem, Hakeem, is when he does say it to your face, you're going to pee your pants. That's the problem, Mr. Tough Guy. I mean, what a loser. Seriously, what a freaking loser. It just shows you it was a meltdown. He had a meltdown. And, by the way, Hakeem Jeffries is not a Latino. I mean, or of Mexican descent or anything like that. So it's clearly about, hey, you guys want to basically risk it all over illegal aliens? Okay, we're going to have some fun at your expense. Trump is getting under their skin. He's getting inside their head. And they've already known they lost. They know they've lost before the shutdown even began.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
I can play that again and again. By the way, I have to stress, it's an AI-generated video, a spoof that was released by Trump's people. That was not Schumer actually saying those things. They're putting words in his mouth. And beside him, obviously, is Hakeem Jeffries, and they drew a mustache and the sombrero on him. And the Dems, the media, they're losing their minds over this. Just very quickly, because I'm going to go back to the phone lines. But this is from 607, who makes an absolutely superb point, really a brilliant point. By the way, you can text the Kuhner Man 70470. Jeff, isn't it amazing that Democrats and liberals can call Trump and the rest of us conservatives Hitler, Islamophobes, homophobes, transphobes, misogynists, haters, liars, and worse, non-stop. But when we fight back, they go apoplectic. And clearly they cannot take a joke. No sense of humor at all. Where is the joy they used to talk about? Oh, no, now that joy, it's all gone. Now they're bitter, they're angry, and they're getting their butts kicked in this shutdown. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, they're bitter clingers, Mike. They're the new bitter clingers. They're clinging to their hate. Scott in Revere. Thanks for holding, Scott. And as always, welcome.
Jeff, I love you in a non-sexual way, my friend.
Scott, I swear, nobody says it better or more passionately than you. You say with such gusto, my friend. Scott, what do you make of all this, buddy? Do you like the shutdown? You don't like the shutdown? How do you feel about the shutdown?
All right, I'm not going to get paid, but I don't care. Because you know what? I don't care. Keep my money. Shut it down. Keep my money. Shut it down. That's it. I'm done. I'm done. No more. The Republicans are better not fold. They better not fold. I'm telling you, and we're letting things get way off the rails here. Boston needs an overhaul. This is ridiculous. These people literally are putting our government on hold over illegal aliens in Obamacare. Come on.
It's shocking, really, Scott. Think about it, really. Scott, are you joking, or are you kidding, or are you really going to go without pay? Scott, so are you saying that even though you're going to miss a couple paychecks, which obviously is not easy, you're saying you're willing to take that kind of pain just to, finally have the Democrats be put in their place and not give in, that we should be giving all this money for free health care for illegals and free transgender surgeries, that they need to be stopped now? Is that what you're saying, Scott? Oh, I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. Scott, please don't swear. I didn't hear that you did swear, but they're telling me that you did. Scott, please, just say whatever you want. I know you're angry. Just don't swear. Please. Go ahead, Scott.
Jeff, I'm so sorry. So sorry for swearing. But yes, okay. I am willing to bite the bullet. Absolutely. I'm willing to bite the bullet. Absolutely. For America and for MAGA. I'd do it in a heartbeat. And I would go a year without a pay to make this happen.
Wow.
And that's the truth. That's how passionate I am. And that's how I'm sick and tired of it. I've had it. Stealing money. I mean, it's one thing to steal money. It's another thing to steal it right in front of you, though. You know what I mean? Literally to do it right in front of your face. And that's disgusting and disgraceful.
Oh, you're right. It's insulting. It's very disrespectful. What they're doing to us, all kidding aside, it's a slap in the face. It's a real slap in the face. Scott, you're a great patriot, and thank you very much for that call. So here he is. Here's a government employee who says, I'm willing to go without a paycheck for as long as it takes. No free health care to illegals, period. This is our line in the sand. We're not compromising. The answer is niet. No, never. Dr. Gina in West Roxbury. Thanks for holding, Dr. Gina, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you, Dr. Gina?
I'm doing pretty well, and you?
Good. So as Kuhner Country's resident, is it a psychiatrist or a psychologist? I keep confusing the two.
It's a clinical psychologist.
A clinical psychologist. So as Kuhner Country's resident clinical psychologist, what do you make of the Democrats melting down? Has Trump gotten into their heads? And what do you make of the shutdown, Dr. Gina?
I think it's great. I think the Republicans should hold their fire and let the Democrats freak out all the more. But I did want to let you know, I'm moving to Florida today, forever.
Oh,
I'm sailing out of Massachusetts.
Congratulations.
I am so thrilled but sad to be leaving Kuhner Country, so I'll have to listen from afar, and your next call will be from me from Melbourne, Florida.
From Melbourne. I've never heard, I've heard of Melbourne, Australia, but I've never heard of Melbourne, Florida. Is that on the East Coast or the West Coast?
It is. It's about 8 miles from the SpaceX.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to a veterans retirement community. I'll be in good company with my other veteran friends.
God
I'm
bless
an
you.
Air Force veteran.
God bless you. And you're still going to listen to us, right, Dr. Gina, and call in?
Absolutely. I listen to you every day. Every day I have for years. So I've been with you from the very beginning when you first moved here.
God bless you. Dr. Gina, have a safe trip down to Florida, and please don't be a stranger. We can't lose our resident clinical psychologist. We need somebody to put these Democrats on the couch, and you're the person to do it, Dr. Gina. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Dan in North Andover. Thanks for holding, Dan.
Hey, you know something, Jeff? I love you, man. Hey, I am so sick of quote unquote Trump supporters telling me it's not better. I don't get it, Jeff. I don't. First of all, number one, someone said we don't want peace. Peace brings prosperity. Google it. Google even says so, Jeff. Peace brings prosperity. If you're not spending money on wars, if you're not killing people, the world's economy gets better, right? But let's talk about prices. Everybody says prices aren't down. Prices on gas, right? Gas is down. It hit a high in 2022 at $5 a gallon. We're down around $3.28 national average, right? And that includes bringing in California. So prices on gas are definitely down. I'm paying around $2.79 for regular right now. That's a heck of a lot better than $5 a gallon. Eggs are down. Produce is down. Chicken's down. Seafood's down. Coffee's up. Definitely, because we're in a trade war with Brazil right now. Beef is up because you remember Biden put a ban on cattle.
Oh, Dan, can you hang on? I'm up against it. Okay, I'm going to continue to take calls, I promise, so hang on. We're going to go right back to Dan in North Andover. Dan, I wish you were with me at the dinner table, my friend. So you're saying my wife is wrong, my sister-in-law is wrong, my sister, my family, all of these Trump voters who are saying inflation is not coming down fast enough, you're saying they're wrong. Gas is down, chicken, eggs, produce, everything is down. Maybe coffee is up because of the trade war, but overall, things are getting better, and they're going to continue to get better. Please pick up where you left off, Dan.
Absolutely, Jeff. And I will be by around 5 to dinner. Do I need a jacket or is a hooded sweatshirt fine? Hey, no. All right. So actually, I love Grace. I love my own wife, but I tell you something, Jeff. She's on Grace's side, and I argue with it all the time. But that's okay. I try to stay safe. But so we went back. All right. So beef prices are way up because Biden shut down the ability to feed on public lands. That's been reopened, but it takes 2 years for a calf to grow into the weight that they sell it at market, right? So beef prices will come down. The farmers are out there, the ranchers are out there. They're stacking up their farms again, their ranches again, because they can graze on public lands. But the big thing is, Jeff, we have oil prices are way down. We're half of what we were at the height back in 2022 on crude oil. And oil prices are destined to come down to around $50 a barrel, which is just over break even. The oil companies can make a profit, and gas prices will come down. But the big thing is, we had a refinery that was going to come online down in Texas, but they scrapped plans back in 2021. Why? Because the Biden administration fought them. They're back on track to reopen it and within a year and a half or 2 years. But that's the first time this country's built a major refinery in 50 years. 50.
So, Dan, what you're saying, and I agree with you completely, but what you're saying is gas is down. It's going to continue to go down. And if gas goes down, energy will go down. Gas affects everything. And you're going to see inflation then continue to relentlessly go down. Correct, Dan?
Everywhere except places like Massachusetts, Jeff. My energy prices are down in Florida. My kilowatt hours came down in Florida. I'm a resident of Florida as of February of this year. Thank God. I spend most of my time in Florida. And Jeff, if you know the young woman that just called that's going to Melbourne, I'd love to have her call back in a couple of weeks and tell you that actually everybody's very positive on the economy in Florida. We have about $6 billion in new investment coming into downtown Jacksonville right now, Jeff. That's amazing. You know, back when I first bought my homes down there, I could have bought all of Jacksonville for about $1 billion. Now we've got, literally six to $8 billion depending on who you are. It's amazing. Everywhere in the country, it's growing, Jeff. The other big thing is right now, one of the reasons that precipitated me to make my move to Florida is I went to work for an out-of-state bank that will not hire Massachusetts employees. Because if you look at the strict labor laws, that's hurting. That's hurting Massachusetts. Schumer said it. Not Schumer. I'm sorry. Cuomo said it when he gave that speech on taxes. Tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich. We did. They left. Companies are going to start leaving Massachusetts.
I agree. Oh, Dan, you're just giving an economics masterclass. That's why I'm saying Healy is declaring war on the middle working class. And she's going to drive this state right into the ground. The Democrats are killing Massachusetts. There's no question. Dan, dynamite call. Okay, Ronnie in Boston. Ronnie, I hate to do this to you, my friend. I've got 1 minute left. The floor is yours. Go.
Hey, Jeff. Thank you for having me. You mentioned about the energy prices going skyrocketing. So I have a point. You know how big number of people they live on subsidized money?
Yes.
From the government?
Yes.
From my money, from your money, actually.
That's right.
We work hard. So we pay, part of the bill is for them, Jeff. We pay for them, Jeff. I don't know the number, I don't know the percentage, but thousands and thousands of people leave.
They're leaving Massachusetts. No, you're right.